Welcome everyone, namaste. Thank you so much for joining this session. Today we are having 30 minutes of restorative yoga. So restorative yoga is very useful to calm the nervous system, to slow down in the body. But even though it feels or it seems like we are not doing a lot of postures because we do less in longer holds, what it is very helpful about this type of practice is that it helps reset our organs. And if you have digestive issues or problems when you go to sleep and it's hard to fall asleep or some anxiety, this type of practice is really useful and helpful for that. So this is what we are doing today. I recommend if you have what we call a bolster or a thick pillow, it can be a pillow from a sofa that you have at home, and it can be a different shape than this one if you don't have something rectangular, okay? So any kind of thick pillow or a few blankets that you can pair one on top of the other, they will be useful as well. So I'm going to leave it there for a moment until we use it. The first thing that we're going to do is come into a hands and knees position, what we usually call a tabletop. And this is a shape that helps with starting to make space in the spine. So this one is a little bit more movement than the ones that I have planned. So from here, making sure that the hips are on top of your knees and your shoulders over your wrist, you can sense first as you are in this tabletop position, if the wrists feel okay. Sometimes opening or dialing the hands a little bit out and away from one another can be a little more restful or less, I'm going to say, a little bit more mild for the wrist if you have some issues going on. So you can do that as well. And then from there, we're going to try and tap into the breath. So we're going to inhale through the nose and start creating an arch by lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, arching the lower back, lengthening the front of the spine and lifting the chin. And with the exhale, we reverse the movement. So now the tailbone moves down, belly button in, we let the upper back round, right? And we bring the chin into the chest. Okay, so that's the movement, the undulations that we are doing. Let's go inhaling and exhaling. We're going to add 3 more, going slow. What we are trying to do is to pair the breath and the movement. And more beneficial even it is if you breathe slowly. So instead of going fast, if you can challenge yourself in lengthening your breath, and that will be enhancing the space that you are creating or regaining in between your vertebrae, in the back of your heart, chest area, of course, the hips, the lower back. Okay, this is the last one. When you return to center, we are going to keep the hips and the knees exactly as they are. I'm just going to move a little bit so you can see it better. And then instead of having the arms in the same place where we had them before, we are going to take 2 giant steps with the arms. And we are going to try and bring the chest down towards the floor. It's not really important how far down you're going. The idea is to push the mat down and away and try to elevate the hips. If you can see, my hips I'm trying to keep my hips above my knees, okay? So I'm not pushing the hips back to my heels and I'm not bringing them forward. So I'm trying to create like a vertical line from my hips to my knees, okay? And then from there, any amount that you can come down, you will feel the chest expanding or the heart center opening up more and the shoulder blades or the upper back contracting a little more. For some of us, the chin easily touches down, you can do that. For some of us, the forehead touches down easily, you can do that. For some of us, we need to add some kind of help, like a bolster, a pillow, a blanket, a block, okay? Anything that you have from home can be a prop to use in yoga, right? Sometimes we need to get a little creative. Perhaps you have something lying around or close to you that you didn't think that can help, but it can be helpful. Maybe you have an eye pillow, maybe you have a blanket, something like that. And now we are going to try and just breathe through the nose. And again, lengthen the inhalation. Feel it go all the way to the top. And then lengthen also that out breath. See if you can really make it last a little longer than your usual. We'll do this again a couple more times. One more. Long in breath. Watch that pathway. Exhale through the nose. Sink a little deeper as you exhale. And then as you're done, slowly start pressing a little more firmly through the hands so you can lift the torso and bring your hands back and come back to that tabletop. Now I'm going to ask for the help of my pillow or bolster. And like I said, maybe something that you have hanging there from a couch or a sofa or something like that, okay? So what I'm going to do is to come to the position of the child's pose. That means that my big toes will come closer to one another, and I'm going to invite you to widen your knees a little more. So they are even wider than my hips. And then that pillow, that prop that we have, we're going to try and bring it right at the level of where the pelvis is. So you're going to bring that, that support as close as you can to your body. Now, for some of us, depending on hip opening and how your body proportions are, the prop that you have may be a little too low. So when I show you the shape, if you feel like you need to go too low and it's a little challenging, then you can always add a folded blanket or some extra stuff to make it a little taller for you, okay? So what we're going to do here is try and keep the sitting bones close to the heels and then start walking the trunk over that pillow cushion support. And then you're going to put your left cheek down. I'm doing it carefully because I have my microphone in my ear, but you're going to rest the left cheek down. And once you come there into that shape, I hope you can see it in my body, but more or less my hips are aligned with my shoulders. That means that if you feel like coming to your pillow, you're more like this, then you need to, like I said before, add more padding. So there's more equanimity between the hips and the shoulders, okay? Because that's what's going to give you the effect of relaxation there. Okay. Also, you could add padding in between your sitting bones and your heels by rolling a blanket or putting another pillow. I'm saying these things because this type of practice, it's very important that we use support, okay? So coming again into this shape, you're going to try and close your eyes or at least soften your eyelids, relax your abdomen. And if you notice that your shoulders are a little tense, see if by moving your elbows any amount, maybe a little lower, maybe a little further towards the top of your mat, if it helps you relax the upper back, okay? Good, what we are doing here, now that you got to the shape, keep it, I'm just coming up so I can talk better. Keep it there. And again, try and concentrate in the breathing pattern. So we are trying to find fluidity in the inhalation. We are trying to make it slow. There is a technique that we use in yoga to lengthen the breath, that it is internally having a count for your breath. So perhaps you start your inhale and internally you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you see how far you can go in those numbers. It doesn't matter what number that is. And then you try to pair with that same amount the exhale. So we are trying to find again that equanimity between in breath and out breath. So see if you can find a few of those on this side. I know that in this practice, it may feel, it's very different than what we are used to do when we are doing a yoga practice. So it may feel a little bit challenging to be a little more still and not do much. But try and see if you can bear with the challenge and let your body surrender a little bit into the supports that you have, and the mind to stay close to your breath, like if it's watching how it's coming into your body, where do you feel it within your system, what places are being touched or expanded or affected by the breath, and the same thing on the way out. When you finish your next breathing cycle, both inhale and exhale, the only thing that you're going to change is your head. So we're going to turn now so we can have the right cheek down. And again, if you need to do any adjustment with your shoulders, your elbows, or even with the padding that you have in your legs, do so you can again find that place that feels really comfortable. Comfort is important in this type of practice as well, because it's what sets up the ground for the breath to slow down, for the heart rate to also slow down, for the blood pressure to lower, and for the brain to feel a little safer. So it's important that we set up the conditions for that. So again, we breathe in through the nose. We exhale through the nose. And if today in particular, you notice that your nose is a little congested, or it is a little challenging to breathe in that way that I'm guiding, then of course you exchange a little bit of that nostril breathing with the mouth breathing, right? We are trying to aim at learning to breathe through the nose as much as we can. Really, really scientifically proven the effects of breathing through the nose, monumental effects in a positive way compared to breathing through your mouth. Okay, one last breathing cycle, looking over to the left. And at the very end, without rushing, we'll return towards the center. This time we'll bring the hands a little closer so we can press a little higher to come towards that seat again. And we'll remove the bolster or the pillows until we use them again, okay? I'm going to return to the tabletop position so we can change a little bit, possibly the ankles or the shins, they feel a little compressed from the shape that we were taking. So you can tap a little or move a little bit there, the shins, the ankles side to side, okay? Then, keeping this tabletop position again, we are going to add a little bit of more thoracic movement. So starting on the left side, we are going to inhale, send the left arm up. And with that long exhale, we bring the left arm behind the right arm or the right hand to cross over to the right and take a gentle thoracic twist. So if you can see again, my hips are staying above my knees. The right hand is a support, so it's pressing gently, so it helps turn with the rotation, right, of the chest. And we soften again through the face and we let the head relax. Now, as you do this, stay there and you breathe again through the nose. Notice if it's really challenging to bring the head all the way down, again, there's an opportunity there to add the support. In this type of practice, instead of like pushing and trying to kind of balance or do like very active stuff, it's the opposite. We are trying to bring all of the support that we can so the nervous system relaxes as well, okay? So if you're doing this twist and the head is up here and it's really hard to bring it down, I recommend bringing that pillow again or something that you have so you can rest the head, okay? Good, let's take one more breath. And then as we press through the right hand, we'll return to the tabletop. So we reset our bodies and then we'll switch sides. When we start this mini sequence that we're doing, we want to again use that breath in a really long and paced way, okay? So that's why I didn't rush the movement. So let's go. Inhaling. And exhaling, this time we are going from right to left. The right shoulder is coming down if that's possible. The right arm is pressing onto the floor gently. The left hand is a helper, right? Part of the balancing action by pressing down and helping also that rotation from right to left. And again, as you come into that side, you're going to try and relax the head. Try and observe the pace of your breath. Keep it calm, equal. We are trying to find that place again of comfort and ease. Even though the body is actively taking a posture, the mind and the breath, they are in the path of relaxation. Good, let's take a few more breaths there. One more long in-breath. Equal exhale. And then we're slowly pressing back, coming into that tabletop again. Beautiful. I'm going to gently press back onto the heel so I can bring again my pillow, my helper today. And I'm again going to put it in the long side, right? So if you have something that is rectangular, you want it to be horizontal, right? Or vertical in front of you, okay? Now we're going to add to this resting posture a little bit of more rotational, abdominal rotation, okay? So looking at your prop, what you're going to do is to bring your left hip right next to that prop that you have. The knees are bent in a way that feels natural and easy to sit, right? So I have the legs both bent over to the right, and the left side of my hip is kind of like touching almost my prop, okay? Then from there, what we are going to do is to use the hands to frame that prop. So I have both my hands are framing the bolster with the finger pads or with your hands. And using your finger pads, you're going to push the mat so you can lift the torso. And after you elongate and you elevate the spine all the way up to the crown of the head, see if you can rotate the belly a little bit more, almost like if you want it to face your prop, right? So the more you can, you bring it towards that side. Okay, after doing that, keeping that rotation, we are going to start walking the hands. And if you, as you're walking the hands, you lose that rotation, use the finger pads to help you again, rotate the belly and the chest towards the left. That's what we are doing, even though the legs are on the right. And once you have your maximum rotation possible, you come over the whole pillow and you're going to put your right cheek over to the left, and then you're going to release your arms. Again, first I'm staying here a little bit so you can see the shape, a couple of more moments. And once you get to this shape, the same principles that we did before they apply, meaning you should feel comfortable. If you feel like you're going too far down and you need extra lifting, right, from the props, then you would add a blanket, a folded blanket on top, or maybe a couple of blankets, or maybe if you have another pillow that you can put on top, so you don't feel like you have to really dive deep into the shape, okay? And then you soften again through the muscles in the face, the forehead, the eyelids. If you choose that you want to close your eyelids, you do so. And let's take 3 long breathing cycles here. At the very end of the last one, Bring your hands a little closer so you can press and come up, and then reset that seat that you have. What we are going to do is just mainly switch sides. So a few options. One is that you can roll completely over to the other side, or you could change your pillow, of course, to the other side, or something different, right? Or come over to the other side. I'm going to show from here so you can also look at the back. So now the legs are bent over to the left, and the right hip is next to that prop. Same as we did before, we are framing that prop with both hands. And before coming over it, we push into the floor so we can lift the spine as much as possible. When we create a rotation in the trunk, the first action that we want to enhance is a lift and length, because rotating with a body that it's all compressed, it's not beneficial, okay? So make sure that you are elongating the spine and making a lot of space in between your vertebrae before coming down, okay? Then I'm adding that rotation through the belly and the chest, almost like if my belly button wants to face that prop. And then I start walking the trunk and releasing it over. And this time the left side of your head or the left cheek is the one touching down. And then you find a place where you can easily rest your arms, so the shoulders and the upper back, they don't feel like they are holding tension, okay? And let's do this over to the second side and breathe 3 times as well. So rest here, I'll tell you when we are done. Lengthen the breath. Try and feel a little bit of this quality of surrendering into the props and letting those props hold you, okay? Sometimes it's hard for us to ask for help or let ourselves be held or supported. So this is also a nice way to physically practice releasing kind of like the control that we always have in our bodies, and let ourselves be supported and held, okay? So let that happen as you breathe. One more time. And then slowly use your hands, coming slowly back so you can push and return, and maybe return rotating again or just coming to the seat, okay? Super. Then we are going to, again, take that prop out for a moment until we use it again. And I'm going to show you another shape that we are going to take here. So this time we are going to come onto our backs. Very simple. This one is really good for digestion or digestive issues and to calm down all of the internal organs there. So basically what we do is as we lie down, we bring both knees into the chest, and we're just going to use our hands to hold them close to the body. And breathe here 5 times. Relax the shoulders. Even though you can see how I am holding my knees towards my chest, I am not being aggressive or pulling super hard, okay? It's just framing the legs so they stay there, and I'm helping them come close to the belly, okay? But don't push or don't be aggressive with it. Relax the chest, soften the face. Let the back of your skull really drop. The upper back also soften down. And if you feel a little bit like anxious or that you don't know what to do, try and invite your mind to concentrate on the breath. Good. After this next breathing cycle, I'm going to change this shape a little. We are going to keep the right knee, the right leg as it is, but we are going to extend the left leg. So you let the left leg rest on your mat or the floor where you're practicing, and you just keep both hands bringing that right knee in as we were doing before, but this time only one leg, right? So stay here again, soften through the head, the upper back, the shoulders. And take a few breaths. Last one. And then we switch, we bring the left knee towards the chest, holding it with the hands, extend your right leg and let it rest on the floor as you hold the left side in and you breathe in a manner that feels soft, fluid, and easy. Good. To take you into the next shape, I'm going to invite you to bring your right knee again towards the chest. And this time we are going to roll over to the left side and use the left arm as a pillow. So my knees, or I'm showing you, right? Like the knees are right off the hips and with one knee on top of the other and the left arm doing as a pillow or the left hand. What I'm going to do now is to inhale and send the right arm up. And with the exhale, you can bend your elbow and bring that right arm all the way down to the right and rest the shoulder, rest the elbow. And if your neck feels okay, let the head look over to the right. If it doesn't feel okay, you can stay like you were before with the left hand supporting the head, okay? We'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Each exhale, a chance to surrender a little more. One more breathing cycle. From there, we slowly bring the knees back towards the center. For me in particular, I have a wall, so I need to shift myself a little. So if you need to make space, you can move a little bit towards your left. Again, we bring the knees over to the chest. And this time we are going to, I'm going to show you my back. We are going to roll over to the right. I'm using this time the right arm as a pillow. The knees are off the hips. And then from there, once you're ready, letting the head rest, inhale your left arm up. And with the exhale, you can bend that left elbow, let that left arm and left side of your chest and shoulder come down. And again, you have a chance here to look over to the left or to turn again to the right or to the center if that feels better in your neck, okay? Soften the skin in the face. Let's give ourselves a few breaths here. Relaxing the jaws. Letting your tongue feel restful, the tongue like kind of like sleeping at the bottom of your mouth. One or two more breaths. And then we return so we can very gently start pressing and coming up towards the seat. Beautiful. We have 1 minute left, so we're going to use it to rest in a more guided manner. So if you have that pillow, again, bring it towards you and put it right below or underneath your thighs. So now we're going to rest the thighs and the knees on top of it. My legs are a little wide. And then from there, we are coming down onto our backs. The knees, like I said, they are supported, so the legs don't need to be straight, right? You can just soften the legs and bend the knees, let the feet drop to the sides. And you can choose if you want to have your arms alongside your torso or your hands on your abdomen with the elbows bent, or you can even send your arms overhead a little bit into a diamond shape let's say. And from here, you rest, letting the head drop, the shoulders, the arms, and from there, cascading down into your feet. Okay, so let's take a moment here before we close the session. Of course, if you have extra time, you can stay here a little longer, right? We have just 30 minutes, so I'm going to close this soon. But if you have extra time, you know that you can come back to this and then just use it for your benefit, okay? From there, slowly, an invitation to bend the knees and maybe put your feet on your prop or the floor, and then roll over to the side and press up towards the seat. Thank you so much for taking this session restorative practice today to soften, slow down, and get a little bit of a pause in the middle of our days. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope to see you soon. Namaste. Have a good weekend.